So let's begin with a very, very controversial opinion of mine. And whilst it might be controversial, there's actually some logic behind it. So here's what I'm aiming at. You know the principle of LooksMaxxing? I don't know when I first heard about it. Actually, I heard about it a long time ago, believe it or not. People are saying that LooksMaxxing is a new phenomenon. It's really not. I mean, LooksMaxxing has always been around. Maybe the term is new, but LooksMaxxing as a whole ain't new. It's actually very old. In fact, I remember this old forum way back in the day. I think it was called puahate.com. So basically, if you don't know what PUA is, it's essentially people who do pickup artistry, right? Guys who want to pick up girls so that they can bang them and brag to their friends about how many women that they've fucked, essentially. And so obviously there's a lot of young frustrated boys who can't get laid, who are jealous because they too want to bang girls, but they're too shy to walk over to them. And so they start hating on the scene. They start hating on the PUAs. So so as part of that, there was a forum called PUA Hate, where essentially it was all about bashing the PUA scene. It was all about hating on the PUA artists who according to these loser ass virgins who couldn't get laid were, quote, lucky because they had looks and they maxed their looks. In fact, it wasn't LooksMaxxing, but it was something in that regard. I think it was looks, money, and fame, or some sort of slogan that these loser ass dorks were tossing around. And so as part of that, they obviously referenced LooksMaxxing. Now, here's why I'm promoting LooksMaxxing. Not because these retard influencers, I don't even know their names, I don't even know what they're doing, but I know that there are several male influencers who promote LooksMaxxing. Obviously, girls do that all the time because they need to maximize their looks because they're selling their beauty to get men chasing after them. Guys do the same. And this is where a lot of people misunderstand the whole thing. Once again, when these young influencer kids talk about LooksMaxxing, all they do is talk about their body, their jacked ass body, their abs, their big muscles, their athletic bodies, and how sexy and appealing that they look. But LooksMaxxing is something different. Or it can be something different because it's all about appearing professional. Because here is what it really refers to. It refers to presenting yourself properly. As part of presenting yourself properly, it's obviously important to be in shape. In other words, have a jacked body if you have one. But also, dress well, groom yourself. Obviously, I'm not shaving in quite a few days, so it's kind of rich for me to sit around and talking about grooming yourself and shaving yourself and looking well. But this is just part of my style. This is just part of my persona. If I'd looked even worse, by the way, then I could have called myself out. But for this, not so much. Because this whole part of me having like this beard that I'm loosely growing, and by the way, I'm shaving myself later tonight. It's part of my looks after all, or it's part of how I look. It's the same thing with my hairstyle. My hairstyle is unique to me, but it's done and it's groomed, and it might not look professional, but it's better looking than if I hadn't done my hair at all, let's just say. My point is still, proper clothing, wearing proper clothes, grooming yourself, presenting yourself properly, speaking well, And there was something else that I forgot, but it really doesn't matter. These items are important, and this is all about presenting yourself in a neat and orderly way so that people actually will take you seriously. This is why politicians dress up, literally dress up, because they appear more credible. Even though you know that they're lying, at the very least they appear more credible when they wear a suit. That's why all the news anchors in the legacy media wear a suit, because at the very least they appear more credible because they dress up for you. Think about it. It makes total sense. That's why a homeless person, even though that homeless person might be telling you the truth and might be presenting himself properly, because he's a homeless person and because he dresses like a street bum, he doesn't appear as credible as a man in a suit. And, isolated in and of itself, a man in a suit appears more credible than a man who doesn't wear a suit. Again, I'm going to use myself as an example. I'd probably appear more credible if I wore a suit for every single video. But it's just not part of my style, which is a different thing. And, we can geek out about that all you want. I'm not going to do that here and now. My point is, LooksMaxxing is just a part of improving your appearance. And you can do that. In fact, you should do it. Because part of LooksMaxxing is being in shape. And everybody should be in shape. There is no reason for you not to be in shape. Just think about it. What are you going to be, some fat person who preaches the virtue of discipline? If I were fat, if I were morbidly obese, and I was talking to you about discipline, going to the gym, not eating candy, doing push-ups, etc., then it would fall flat on his face because people wouldn't believe me. I wouldn't appear credible. See, so that's why LooksMaxxing is actually, when you think about it, it's actually, and at its core, just a proof that you know how to enforce discipline in your own life. And therefore you appear more credible and also more persuasive. If you want to learn more about persuasion, get subscribed to my email list. The link to do so is in the episode description where you're watching and or listening to this, and I'll see you there.